Okay, so thank you very much, dear colleagues, for your presence on this webinar that we'll try to discuss what is the impact of the ecological crisis and climate change on our practice of career guidance, and also discuss some good examples of how this can be done with different target groups. My name is Tomáš Prlák, and today I'm presenting this on behalf of the newly created, or in the process of being created, Central and Eastern Europe Guidance Forum, which is an initiative of 4 associations of careers practitioners from 4 countries: Czech Republic, Hungary, Romania, and Slovakia. And it's an initiative that is also co-funded by the European Union. So if you have missed the initial instruction, if you want to follow the captions in your national language, because the webinar will be held in English, you can enable them by clicking on the 3 dots more, and then clicking on the icon CC, which means captions, and then enable it in your native language. And if you have any technical difficulties, please let us know in the chat. And also, if we should speak slowly, let us know. Today, we prepared 3 parts presentation: a short introduction about what is it that we are talking about, but probably this will be nothing new for most of you. And then we will have the pleasure to listen perspectives from 4 countries, from Czech Republic, Hungary, Romania, and Slovakia, about what is the current state of the green transition, what is the foreseen impacts on the labor market, on the educational and guidance sectors, what are the perceptions of citizens, what are the policy responses. So this will be a more very helicopter quick 5-minute overview per country, and then we will have examples of 3 initiatives: Mienk Apája Alapítvány from Hungary, working with secondary students. Then we will have a Centrum of Pedagogical and Prevention Center from Veľký Krtíš from southern Slovakia, working with elementary schools, and then we will have colleagues from EKS working with adults from Czech Republic. So this will be 3 practical initiatives. So what are we talking about? Well, we, of course, know the information. We often hear talking about climate change, but the ecological crisis is much wider and much more serious than that. So it's not very useful to repeat the facts, but we know that if the climate gets warmer by 2 degrees, we will have 99% of corals that will go extinct. Even today, we are dealing with hypoxia of life in oceans because of the phosphates we use in intensive agriculture. We observe since 50 years a collapse of biosphere, where the life on Earth is collapsing before our eyes. And as an illustration, today's mammals living in the wild represent only 4% of the total population, compared to almost 70% of cattle and other domestic animals. We are faced with a crisis of soil, of the land, where today 45% of the solid land surface is used for agriculture, mostly intensive agriculture, 80% of which is meat production, which is very disproportionate to the calories produced. And of course, there is the climate change, the topic that is mostly discussed. For some, it's controversial, but these are facts. This is scientific reality. Today, the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere is the highest that it has been in 800,000 years. We are talking about transition, but is it really happening? Today, the fossil fuel consumption is on its highest level and continues to grow. It still represents around 82 to 84% of total energy produced. We also observe, this is what they call in English the huge explosion of anthroposphere, which includes all man-made products, environments, exponentially increasing negative impacts on the planet. For example, as an anecdote, if you are born in 1985, as I am, so I'm 40 years old, 50% of all the CO2 in the atmosphere today was emitted during your lifetime. So this is a quite recent phenomenon that has been growing exponentially. And of course, we talk about green growth, but is this really happening? The answer is not really. The absolute decoupling is really not happening. And there is a research showing that if advanced economies continue at the current rate of decoupling, they would reach their Paris Agreement targets in 220 years. This means that 2024 and 2025, again, will probably be the hottest years in the history. You probably heard also this notion of planetary boundaries, which are environmental thresholds for 9 processes that are critical to Earth stability. And today we have just crossed, I think, the 7th boundary. I read it several days ago. If this made us happy, richer, this would be nice. But the truth is that our system is extremely unequal, unfair in the distribution of the richness between the global north, global south, and also within our countries. We observe a huge inequalities between the rich and the middle class and the poor ones. Middle class are basically disappearing. So it's clearly a system that pushes us to ask ourselves the question: what do we do with this? And yeah, some motivational quote: when we are brave enough to study the available data, they turn out to be even more alarming than most of us could have imagined. Then there's the question of growth. You probably know the famous publication that dates already from 1972, where the Club of Rome, which is a club of entrepreneurs, of basically rich people, funded a simulation to show, can we really grow into infinite? And although the specific predictions of resource availability in this publication lacked accuracy, its basic thesis that unlimited economic growth on a finite planet is impossible was indisputably correct, and that we're heading towards resource depletion, possibly. And as our colleague Tibor pointed out in his brilliant article in 2022, today it's unthinkable to think about sustainability on the labor market only in terms of the economy, society, and education, without taking into account the global equilibrium between the human society and its environment. So the question, of course, is, can we have a sustainable development beyond growth? What would it mean to our countries in Central and Eastern Europe, which we consider ourselves as less rich and less developed as the Western countries, even though globally we are part of the northern elite, more or less? But now let's bridge this to the career guidance. We have more and more researchers and practitioners that ask themselves the question with Jean Guichard, who is a famous French professor. Can we help people construct their future prospects, their future lives that give meaning to their existence, without asking the question concerning their contribution to sustainable and equitable human development? Can we really put this question of sustainability into practice in our practice? And that is the idea that we are going to discuss today. You probably already heard this idea about what is green guidance, a notion that was invented or dreamt by Peter Plant already in the 90s, which stipulates that guidance should also take into account the environmental impact of career choices, should also promote opportunities that have a positive contribution in terms of sustainability, that in the informational materials around occupation, careers, employments, we should also include environmental aspects, and globally rethink our theories that should take into account also broader vision, that also only this westernized, individual, liberal vision of the human being isolated from the environment, etc. So this is all nice. The question is how to do it. And basically today you have two approaches to green guidance. You have this very adaptive approach that is preached by the OECD and that you usually find also in practice, that focuses on green jobs, green skills, adaptations, individual behaviors. You should recycle, you should print less, etc., which arguably contributes more or less on the maintenance of the status quo. And then there is more visionary, subversive, or transformative approach, which is embryonic today, but that is developing, that focuses more on social and environmental transition, on envisioning a sustainable future beyond this current social and economic organization that is based on exploitation and growth, and helps us think about how could we transform the career, how do we transform thinking about the work and the career in the context of sustainability. Many questions. Is this our job? Do we know how to do it? How could we do it? Isn't this too political? Which is always a question, especially in our countries. Can we make the difference? Of course, legitimate questions that we can discuss. Now, coming to the context of Central and Eastern Europe, there is a paradox that our economies will probably be more impacted by climate change, by the green transition, because we are more industrialized, more focused on car industry that necessarily will transform, etc. And paradoxically, if you take a look at what people think about it, in average, people think usually that is less of a priority compared to the so-called Western countries. But we shouldn't put all these countries into the same basket. If you take a look at the recent Eurobarometer, you can see that there are huge differences in the perception of these environmental issues and their impact on the daily life. In Hungary and in Slovakia, it's rather perceived as something very present and there. Little bit less so in Czech Republic and Romania. Well, we can discuss also how relevant this info are. How necessary is the European legislation to deal with these issues? Where paradoxically, Hungary is considered as a independent and a sovereign country, and most of the people think yes, we need Europe to move forward with this. A little bit less in traditionally Eurosceptics countries like Czech Republic and also surprisingly Romania, perhaps. Companies should pay for cost of cleaning up their pollution. Quite strong in Slovakia, also in Czech Republic, less so in Hungary and Romania. So this just illustrates that countries are very different in their perceptions of climate change and in the impacts. And to go further in this, I would like to invite our colleague Eva to tell us more about the situation in Czech Republic very, very briefly. And sorry for this long introduction. You have 5 minutes, if you can. Your microphone is off.
Okay. Yeah, I think that you can see the similar picture as in other countries, that there is a growing demand for green skills and green job, that there is a lack of people who could do the green jobs at the moment. So this is a gap at the labor market. And it's mostly for the qualified people. Yeah, so you can see that the last bullet point that, and you can see it everywhere, that the most at-risk groups are the one with like lower education, older citizens, you know, who also don't have digital skills, women, and marginalized communities. So it's a picture you can see all around Europe. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think that the population, I would say from my point of view, is quite skeptical. So they think, okay, climate change matters. But if you say, okay, we have to start to do something now, we have to change things, how we do them, then they don't feel this as a priority. You can see that only 30% of people think that it is a priority for our country, which is quite surprising, because we can experience every year some impacts of the climate change with like extreme heats, like over 30 degrees. We have extreme floods, like every second year. We have huge fires, so people really feel it or experience it in their own lives, but still they kind of think this is a dictate of the EU, and the Green Deal has got a very negative connotation, and especially with our populist party, who's gonna win, unfortunately, the elections this year. They're very much against this. So you can see that one thing is going on the reality or the everyday life, and the other one is the political reality, which don't fit together. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, and do we see any impacts from the government on the policy response on the education level or on the labor market level? Not really much. We have there's a new curricular reform going on, which focuses on what should the primary schools teach. And there's a subject which is called sustainability or green education. And it's a cross-cutting theme, which means that it should be somehow embedded in different subjects. But it very much depends on every school, how they do it. So there's no standard system, and it's just that everybody does it as they wish to. So sometimes there might be even nothing going on at the schools. We have also special focus on certain areas which are traditional industry and coal mining regions. which is, for example, in the northern western part of the country, where the mines are being closed, but there is still a debate going on that we should move the limits. We should not stop mining the coal because it's cheap, and even our power stations or power plants are the coal power plants are now being transformed. So this is a process going on, and there's some huge EU funding going into these regions and into these projects, but there's also a high level of corruption. So lots of this funding just disappears somewhere. So in the end, it's not really, it could be working much better than it does in reality. And as for green guidance or green education, so this is utterly brand new topic in our country. So there is no official policy, and we're kind of pioneering in this field.
Thank you very much, Eva. And I would like to give the microphone to Tibor. I think it's you presenting this, and feel free also to contextualize maybe the introduction and react to what's been said. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Just a short note that obviously I'm going to talk about Hungary, not the Czech Republic. We mixed up the flag, I think, with the country. So I have only a few slides, and immediately, Thomas, if you can move to the second one, that's more visualizing what I want to say. Yeah, here we are. So first of all, I think it was an excellent slide, one of your opening slide about running after the unicorn. So I have a deja vu feeling when we start discussing the green jobs, green skills, green guidance, green education, whatever, everything is green now, that it's probably the same political rhetoric like talking about the STEAM occupation. We start talking about the lack of science, technological, mathematical skills in European societies, which is absolutely true, but it wouldn't tell us that we should neglect the other occupations, and then we should stop orienting people towards other type of jobs which are not relating with STEAM. That's one hand part of the story. The other part of the story I probably want to highlight that when we are talking about greening, or we are more talking about sustainability, in economics it's very much occupied the field when, as you already referred to this, what we mean by zero growth and then what we mean by sustainable economy. So therefore, I rather prefer to say that orientation or career guidance in this region has more a role to guide young people or adults toward jobs which either contribute to the greening and sustainable economical development and social development in certain countries, or has some elements which are greenish, so probably not so green skills, but there are some skill elements which are changing. So the future is never really in the future, but the future starts in the present. So the reality is that instead of waiting for brand new jobs, which obviously will come, we are talking about the changing nature and the changing skill sets of existing jobs. And therefore, when we are talking about the work of career guidance professionals, I think what we are really targeting is the changing nature of occupational standards and the changing nature of the VET content and competence in the system. So just in a nutshell, what I put into this slide is nothing else than the so-called composite indicator. Each country or each EU country obviously has the same. This is the Hungarian one, and I just picked two slides, the two elements of this composite indicator. So one is about the social sustainability of Hungary. The other one is about the educational sustainability. And then in both areas, the country is lagging behind in many ways of the European average. The instability of the primary education system, the super low achievement in the PISA scores. So now we are facing with the situation that 1/3 of the primary school leavers of Hungary have very low PISA scores, so which basically 1 or 2, so it's almost the level of illiteracy. And this creates a tension when we want to talk about the greening of the vocational education or greening of the labor market, because obviously without fundamental skills, would be very hard to even think about a green transition. So again, the devil are in the details. I'm not going to really detailed discussion of this composite indicator, but I believe that somehow this is something which influences the way how we should think about green guidance if this terminology really exists with question marks. Then if we can move to the next slide, that's nothing else, just a very short description of the country goals. So like any other European countries has these goals, it's partly coming from the UN, partly coming also from EU targets. As you can see, we also have a Climate Protection Act from 2020 and the targets by 2015 to reducing the carbon emission by 40%. And here I just want to highlight a trick, which is I think common in the former Czechoslovakia, Romania and Hungary. So whenever these countries are targeting the carbon reduction, then we are using the baseline of 1990, but that's already the day. Well, in Czechoslovakia, it's 93, but in case of Hungary, obviously 1990 was already the change of the regime. So in these countries, this is already a baseline where we have a relatively low carbon emission because of the collapse of the socialist, of the Sovietized heavy economy. So it's a very tricky in a way that the Central Eastern European countries in that sense are easier to adopt to the climate change, at least in sense of carbon emission. But on the other hand, there is always a trade-off between these factors. We're still talking about the real convergence to the, well, we are not calling them anymore EU 15, but let's call them the old member states. So when we are checking the Eurobarometer figures and there are contradictions between people's willingness to change their behavior and them blaming governments or other stakeholders not providing enough basis for the changes, I think it's also important to highlight that the real convergence of the new member states is still pretty low. The Czech Republic is the closest, around like 90% of the EU average by GDP. But Hungary, Slovakia, Romania in this case, obviously is lagging or are lagging behind. And just one more slide, what I have before I passing the floor. If you can move one more slide. Thank you. So here I'm just going to use 3 cases to highlight what we are talking about and the role of green guidance. So the first issue is about vocational education and training, either initial VET or continuous VET. In this regard, doesn't matter. So what greening really means in practical terms in the vocational education training, also in higher education or in adult education, when we are talking about professional trainings and hard skills, it's obviously nothing else than a mapping exercise where we're trying to understand that certain type of skills taking into consideration when we are adjusting our curricula. So for example, when we are talking about the installation of houses and then saving energy or whatsoever. So again, I think it's a very good case study for that we are not talking about just green jobs. We are talking about certain type of skills which are necessary in existing occupations in order to achieve a greener economy or a greener society. The second case study what I want to highlight here today is about the renovation programs, which is ongoing in Hungary using the LRF resources and other European structural resources. I think it's very much the same in the other 3 countries. And still what we can observe here, it's very, very far from being enough. So there is this very strong contradiction between the efforts of not only the government, but the society and different stakeholders, so like households and also companies, and the reality of the outcomes. And then the resources are there. So I think the slides will be also available. So the hyperlinks behind providing you more details of the certain studies. And the last is coming from the Friedrich Reber Stiftung, also very active in Hungary, when we are talking about the green job creation. And here I also want to highlight a contradiction. So in many green job lists, we are talking about the need for more electricians because they are the ones who can save energy in the households. So a certain building can move from category C to category A or even A++, saving a lot of energy, or what we call in Hungary a passive house. So basically you are not using additional energy anymore to maintain the building itself. It has a literature itself also in the industrial era. But on the other hand, we are talking about occupations which are already in the great demand of the labor market. So these are the shortage vacancies. These are the occupations which are very highly paid. For example, in Hungary, they are much better paid than many of the white collar jobs. So what are we exactly talking about? So we are talking about the green transition. In the meantime, we are neglecting the fact that these type of occupations and these type of skills are already very highly needed in the labor market. So just closing with a very provocative question, do we need guidance on this? Because people are already very well aware that these type of jobs, these type of skills paid off in the labor market. So anyhow, the market itself is adjusting towards greening. And that's all from my side. So this is what I prepared for today. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you very much, Tibor. We will have time for discussion. And now I think I'll invite colleagues from Romania, with Marian, to present briefly the Romanian situation.
Yeah, I'm really curious if the AI will understand well my English, because sometimes my English is linked to my French, and my accent is not so good. In fact, in Romania, we are at the beginning, because we don't have a real system of counseling for the green career, for the green subject. Most of our initiatives are linked to the ecological disaster, or to the decision of the European policy to close the mines, to close the electric coil facilities to reduce the CO2 emission. And for that, it's not so well to understand the guidance intervention in this area. In fact, for today, I've invited my colleague from the Faculty of Geography. He is involved to the new disaster with inundation, with flood of salt mine in Romania, affecting a huge community based on tourism and on salt mining. And for that region is really a problem to re-evaluate the opportunity of the future career, to understand how to change. In fact, we don't have at the national level the people's. We don't have at the national level a strategy to understand how the people can give and obtain the help necessary to the next steps. I don't know good examples in Romania, maybe some examples from the private sector, because the universities, the schools are linked to the green policy in Romania, but not at the institutional level, but in partnership with OMV, for example, for as it's a good example, but also it's linked to the oil exploitation in Romania. Maybe next slide will be a good idea. We have some strategy. You see on the screen the list of our national strategy for environmental and climate change education. And also we must put in evidence the Green Week. We have tradition in Romania to have at the high school level 1 week dedicated to the education, the green education, to understand how climate changes affect our life, affect our jobs, affect our future. But we have a problem. We don't have enough specialists to sustain correctly this kind of activities. We organize Green Week at the university. The visits of high school students at the university are already tradition, but not that. But the capacity of the institution are reduced to a few people. We don't have also necessary skills for counseling, because our counselors are not educated to offer the support for the high school students and students. And it's a new subject for us and for my colleagues to discover how to link. How do we already applied in our daily work with the new skills and the new opportunities created by the legislation. Next slide, please. Okay. The solution is to have new training programs, new training platforms. We have the possibility to implement the changes, but we need more, I don't know the word, more strategies from the Ministry of Education and for the responsible persons from the Ministry of from the ministries, from the government. We have also a problem at the university levels, because we have courses related to green transition, but not at the Faculty of Educational Sciences or to the Faculty of Psychology. To offer to future counselor the skills needed for this subject, but at the Faculty of Biology, at the Faculty of Chemistry, at the Faculty of Geology, because I already told you it's about crisis intervention, not developing intervention. And next slide is about a few best practices in Romania, practically private examples, because the number of beneficiaries is not high, and we don't have, for example, for the Green Week, one national evaluation about the impact, about the results, about the perception. Maybe it's difficult to change the things only with the involvement of private partners, because the budget are limited, but I think is a good start to see how to do and how to change the future. I think it's okay. If you have questions, I will offer you gladly.
Thank you very much, Marian. Now let's move briefly to Slovakia. In Slovakia, also very industrialized country, and the estimations are that 20% of jobs are in carbon-intensive industries that will need to transition. And there is a research that is done by our trade unions that show the impact of the heat and of the climate change already today, and that is projected to even to accentuate in the further in the coming years. And this risk of job losses is concentrated mostly regionally, and already in the regions that are already today economically fragile. In terms of population response, it's very similar to Czech Republic, but less climate negationists. Even though with the Russian propaganda, you would also have this anti-climate, anti-Green New Deal narratives that are being spread through the social networks. But we realized a representative survey on career guidance, where we were talking, our association, where we were asking people about their preoccupations around careers. And we learned that 10% of the 22 to 34 years old think that green transition will be the most important factor that will impact their careers in the future, which is twice as many as in the general population. So this is a concern that is more and more frequently being present in the preoccupations of our potential clients in the future. In terms of policy response, it's similar as in every country. There are, of course, these transition strategies, green economy strategies, etc. In reality, there are some first experimentations in public employment services who declaratively promote or finance training where they prioritize jobs that are linked to artificial intelligence and green transition, which is quite paradoxical, but anyway, and which could concern potentially 14,000 unemployed, but without really elaborating what does it mean to retrain for green transition. So it's mostly a political agenda or a label that has not, they did not go further to analyze what does it mean to a green training or green job. There is also the Just Transition operational program that finances bilan de compétence approach, career guidance approach for the retraining of minors, but not specifically green guidance. And also the similar to the Czech Republic and elsewhere, the curricular reform that introduces the green education and green skills as a transversal subject. But this is currently being developed. So thank you very much for your attention. And we are happy to have among us three representatives of different actors from different countries who will present us with their initiatives, their activities that try to implement green guidance in practice. We have 45 minutes, so colleagues, if you can, please try to respect the time slot allocated to you, which is 15 minutes maximum. And if you leave sometimes for debate, that would be great. And we will start with Kish Gergely, who will talk to us about their career guidance program in secondary schools. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gergely Kish. I'm a career guidance counselor, and I'm the professional leader of Miénkapálya Alapítvány, which has an international name as well. It's called the MAP Foundation. Miénkapálya means the path, the track is yours, and the MAP Foundation is a syllable for that. We established this foundation to help young people, youngsters to make career choice and career decisions well. And we try to help them with our programs to gain better self-awareness, career knowledge, In addition, we help them to develop workplace skills as well. And our aim is to help them see clearly opportunities and to connect them with possible employers as well. We work with secondary school students mostly. Just now we started our primary school program, and we are very proud that with our pilot program, which works with careers in environment and sustainability, we won a national Euroguidance award last year. As you can see in the photos, we contact a lot with secondary school students. We organize them career guidance days 10 years since then for 10 years, and after that we started mini trainings, and after that we introduced the program in our first partner school. And in this program, we have track knowledge classes and self-knowledge groups within the classes. And we focused on, in the last 2 years, how we can fit into the curriculum of the secondary school, because as I will mention it later on, it's very hard to get the time for the track knowledge classes, for the self-knowledge groups. However, it's a very important thing, as the teachers also say. Please, next slide, please. And firstly, I have to mention that as we try to fit into the curriculum, we started to create the structure of career guidance curriculum. And I had one interview with a climate policy expert who once showed up in a career guidance day, and he had a very extreme sentence that it would be great if at least as many people were engaged in saving the world as in destroying it, and that lead us to work out the fields of sustainability and the green career path first, because industry has won a lot more focus in recent years. So as you can see in career path, in green career paths, there are a lot of fields, and we started to work out some professions as well. First, climate policy expert, agriculture policy researcher. These are concrete employees, and I would like to show you the one template of this. Next slide, please. Sorry, I cannot see the next one.
Sorry, I changed the slide. Can you see the slide, or should I share the screen again? Okay. Sorry.
Thank you very much if you reshare it. Now I see. There was an error in internet, I think. So we have a structure that is repeated in the curriculum. One profession is detailed and processed in aspects like the essence of work, most important tasks in detail, challenges, difficulties, what skills are needed, the beauty of the work, further education and career path. And I would gladly share my screen with you, and I can show you how we built this one unit of the curriculum. Maybe now. Thank you. I'm tired. page. And hopefully it's here. Yes, so this is the translation of Google. So you can hear climate policy expert, the name of the profession. And as I go down, you can see some elements of the unit. There is a content which can be clicked as well. So we go further, and the tasks in details can be processed through the classes. And there are the most important thing that it's a video based.
I'm really sorry, but I just see a black screen. I can't see. I don't know how about the others, but I'm not sure if you're sharing.
Yeah, for me also.
Yeah.
For you as well. Mm-hmm. Can you see it now?
Yeah, now it works.
Okay. So once again, here is the name of the profession and the employee. He's a leader of Green Policy Center. He's the director and co-founder of this think tank organization. Here are some elements of the unit. And here you can see the content. You can click and see the details of this description. Here is the essence of the work. Most important tasks, and which is important that this is a video-based curriculum, which means that we have the process of the unit with little videos, some films, some interview details, which contains additional information in relation with the profession. So I wanted to show you just the main structure of this unit and of all the curriculum. Because it's a very important thing that if the structure is the same, secondary school students can compare different professions much more easy. Here you can see the necessary competencies. This is the definition of the competence, and if you put your finger on it, if you tap on it, there is a concrete example for this competence, how you can use it, how you can realize this competence in your field. Here are other elements of what skills are needed, what kind of attitude is needed, who is it for. Some details, some citations from the interview. Why is it nice to make this job? What's the beauty of the profession? And further career paths, which means that that we have to show the entrance professions for the secondary school students, and also the branches of this career opportunity. What can they do in non-profit organization? What can they do in public administration? Or if they would like to start from the scratch, they can start from law firms, because there are few think tank organizations like this. And one more thing which is very important in this curriculum is that there is a worksheet which is a self-reflecting worksheet, and which helps to process the content of this unit. There are questions what you can hopefully read on this self-reflecting worksheet. The main thing is that we don't want to ask what was the content of the description, We would like to know how the students feel about this profession, and we would like them to elaborate with their self-knowledge and to elaborate and to process through their self-knowledge the content of the profession. So that's the main structure, and I need to see how much time do I have. I think 3 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, just the key factors. I stop sharing. Next slide, please. I cannot see the change. I'm sorry. How we can apply this, for example, in sustainability weeks. We offer for students method for the processing. For example, in class teacher lessons, as homework, in small groups and individually. Next slide, please.
I start with the last one. Sorry.
Sorry?
I think I started with, I showed the last one. Sorry. So this.
And we can go back, and I just make my last sentence.
Okay. Can you see the obstacles?
Not yet, sorry.
Yes, that's happening. Sorry.
So thank you very much. So we see that it's very hard to introduce this system into the secondary school curriculum because it's a very rigid system. In Hungary, it's a great problem, I think, that it's not a flexible one, and that's why we need to go into the schools with a very concrete methodology, which is given into the hand of the teachers, and they feel that it's for them. It's for them to support, to work easily with children, with the youngsters, and they have concrete methods and concrete information to help their children to make their decisions. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you very much, Gergely. Do you want to talk briefly about your project, what you want to do with this, or later? That would be a good time if you want to talk about it.
Thank you. Just 3 sentences that in live program, which is a direct call from Brussels, we found a main consortium partner, and we are looking for international consortium partners to apply for this call. And Thomas has my email address and telephone number, and thank you if you are interested, and if you contact us around this project. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Gergely. Can we share it in the chat also?
Thank you.
Those who would be interested. Okay, thank you very much. And I will stop sharing, and I will invite our colleagues from Slovakia, Monika Bečkiová and Eva Rozkošová, that will present themselves. And it's a very different approach, more playful, but also for different target group. So the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
So I can start.
Monika, are you with us? I think we lost Monika. So, yes, hello.
Yes, okay, sorry.
Hello, my name is Monika Bečkej. I am from Slovakia and I work in career counseling. Thank you for the invitation. I am happy to be here. Now I would like to give the floor to my colleague Evka Rozkošová, who will present our green stars.
Okay, thank you. So let me introduce the initiative, A School Full of Stars Green Edition, a career guidance event designed for the youngest pupils at primary school. The project was professionally, methodically, and materially supported by Monika Bečkej, a career guidance counselor from the Center for Pedagogical and Psychological Counseling and Prevention in Veľký Krtíš. She prepared the activities, worksheets, and the methodological framework. My name is Eva Rozkošová and I work as a guidance counselor at Škultetyho Primary School in Veľký Krtíš, where the event took place. I coordinated the organizational aspects in cooperation with the school management, class teachers, the school psychologists, members of the Students' Council, and other partners. Thank you for the opportunity to present our project at today's meeting. We approach this event as a space where children could discover their talents, develop them, and shine by being who they truly are, all under the motto Discover, Create, and Shine. So, goals of the event. Our goal is to introduce children to green skills through hands-on experiences and teamwork. We want children to reflect on their interests and abilities and use them for the benefit of the planet. We focus on developing skills that are useful not only in school but also in everyday life. We have combined career guidance with an environmental dimension and involved parents, grandparents, and secondary schools. We connect skills with values such as collaboration, environmental protection, and community. Organization of the event. The event, A School Full of Stars Green Edition, took place over the course of full week in May, with each grade having its own dedicated day. All pupils from grades 1st to 4th at Škultetyho Primary School in Veľký Krtíš participated in the activities, a total of 179 children. The activities were held directly at school in classrooms, on the school playground, and also at the secondary vocational school in Veľký Krtíš. It was a lovely and inspiring week full of creativity and collaboration. So this short video was from the creative workshops held at the secondary vocational school in Veľký Krtíš, focused on digital and green skills for 3rd grade primary school pupils. Activities. The activities for each grade were diverse, including creative workshops, group games, and cooperation with parents and secondary schools. Children had the opportunity to learn how to create responsibly with respect for our planet, with also developing their collaboration skills and the ability to present their personal strengths. They took part in various group activities such as Career Carousel, Skills Garden, Green Heroes, and Mini Eco School. During the creative workshops, they learned how to work with recycled materials. The highlight of the program was an event called Recycled Fun, where family members passed on their own green skills to the children. In cooperation with secondary schools, pupils had the chance to try out various hands-on activities, such as planting flowers, caring for animals, learning about bees, developing digital skills, and creating eco-friendly bags. An important part of the event, A School Full of Stars Green Edition, included worksheets and methodological materials specifically designed to develop green skills and environmental awareness and career self-awareness among young school-aged pupils. These materials are compiled in an activity manual. The activity manual is currently in development and contains ideals that can be used in other schools or guidance centers as well. In the photos, you can see a selection of moments from the event. They capture various activities from creative workshops and group reflections to collaboration with parents, grandparents, and secondary school students. Each day brought new experiences and opportunities to discover skills in the context of a green future. And another part of the program was a dedicated activity for fourth grade pupils called Eco Mini School, focused on exploring green careers and skills. During 4 lesson hours held outdoors, the children became little eco heroes. We started with a motivational challenge, encouraging them to think about how they themselves can help the planet. In the info block, they worked with environmental facts, sorted waste, and guessed different green professions. The program also included a quiz, the creation of their own eco-hero, and in the end, messages for planet Earth. This activity showed that even young pupils are capable of understanding the importance of sustainable behavior and the connection between environmental education and personal development. The children left with the awareness that they too can contribute to a more sustainable future. The activity was very positively received by both pupils and teachers. In the photos, you can see moments from the mini eco school, which took place outdoors in the school playground. The event had a beautiful impact. Children discovered their own abilities, strengthened their self-confidence, and learned from each other as well as from adults. At the same time, we supported green thinking and opened up new opportunities for collaboration involving parents, grandparents, and secondary schools. We saw the children are very capable of reflecting on their skills and understand the importance of nature protection. We also consider significant the initiative of teachers who integrated the topic into their lessons. For example, in science class, pupils created a project about bees and learned about ecosystems. In English, they focused on the themes of skills, hobbies, and jobs. In the art class and the school club, they drew their dreams, professions. It was a very nice and natural connection. A big thank you goes to all the participating partners, teachers and pupils who created an exceptional atmosphere. Together, we succeeded in supporting children to explore their possibilities in line with the values of sustainability. At the same time, I thank you for all your attention and the opportunity to present the event, A School Full of Star Green Edition, at today's meeting. I wish you a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Eva. Thank you very much, Monica, for this beautiful presentation. We didn't take time for questions for Gergely, but now we have 5 minutes maybe. So if there are questions or comments for Eva and Monica and also for Gergely, please don't hesitate to go for it. Thank you very much. And Monica shared in Slovak the methodological guide. We'll try to provide an English version and share it with you together with the recording of this webinar. Thank you very much. Or you can use Google Translate, of course. And Eva, yes?
Yeah, I had a question on, sorry, I didn't catch your name, the Hungarian partner.
Yes. I'm Gergely.
Yeah, hello. I was wondering whether you have something similar with like non-green jobs, because it's kind of a catalog, if I understood it correctly. It's a catalog of green occupations, yeah?
Yeah.
So do you have anything similar to other occupations, maybe on the state level, or because it reminds me of like a catalog of occupations we have here in the Czech Republic, which was created, it was a state initiative. And I really like this green edition. So can you link it to something else which is existing in your country? And is my question clear?
Do you mean other occupations in our curriculum?
No, maybe I will explain it because what we use it for is, for example, if you want to recognize like formal and non-formal competencies and you don't want to study, you can pass an exam and then you get a paper that you're able to do a certain job, yeah? And you have a catalog of jobs where you can see the description, what competencies you need, what kind of education you need, what kind of income you get. And it also helps if you work as a career practitioner and you have a client who just doesn't have a clue what he or she wants to do.
I understand.
You can use this catalog. So
maybe the logic is different. Our point of view is that we would like to clarify the track knowledge of secondary school students. For example, there are 120, 150 most popular professions and fields what secondary school students know. For example, psychologist, engineer, and other fields, general or very specific. And we experience that even if it's popular, maybe they know it from television or heard about it in a podcast, they don't know exactly what is it about, what it works. And we are focused on, in the first period, next to this pilot program, which works with career guidance, with career paths, we are focusing on these most popular fields of work, professions, and it is an additionally we are trying to sell for companies a service that they can present their jobs in this curriculum as well. I didn't say it in the introduction, but we are working on a transition to become a social enterprise, and we would like this to be free for all the students, and therefore we are about to make concrete offer for firms how they can present their jobs. Maybe they don't have workers in some fields within 5 or 6 years, and they are very working on showing themselves and introduce their jobs for youngsters. And we would like to help to connect them together. Our focus is that to show possibilities for youngsters. Maybe I answered it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Gergely or our colleagues from Slovakia? if not, then let's take these last 15 minutes to talk about the example of activity and initiative from Czech Republic, led by our colleagues from EKS.
Yeah, so what I'm going to show you, I'm just going to talk about one concrete activity that I would like to present to you. And this is a result of two combined projects that we've been involved with. One, it includes also Tomáš and his organization is focused on green career guidance among vet students. And the other one is focused on primary schools, yeah? And what we want to do is to develop, let's say, set of tools that can be used in the practice, because what we found out that people are very often, or practitioners or teachers, don't know very much about what green career guidance is. And if they do know, they don't know what to do. They don't have any tools to work with. So we had a collaborative workshops with different experts in each country from different spheres, where we put together different tools which could be used in the practice, which we will be now testing and collecting feedback. And we also are creating a methodology which goes along with this toolbox, which explains the principle of green guidance. So it's in this Exploring Green Guidance project. Another one is called Green Career Education, and it's very similar, but it's focused on primary schools. And we have created like a 5-day curricula of let's say, like a training course for teachers, which is full of activities, and it also has its own toolbox with different activities which can be used in the classroom on primary schools. And what I want to show you today is one of the activities that we have created like simultaneously in both of those two projects. And we have tested it already both with students and also with adults. So it's kind of a flexible thing that you can adapt to any kind of audience. Yeah, it focuses on thinking about the global changes or global trends that influence the world of work, the labor market, and that also have an impact on myself. Yeah. So it just encourages people or students to think about the future, how the labor market will change, and how I should adapt to these changes. Then it focuses on labor market information, because this is also something which practitioners are very often lacking, that they don't have any info about what kind of green jobs there are which are existing. So I really like this website because it offers like really practical examples, because people very often have no idea. And some jobs already do exist, and some just will emerge, and we don't know what they will look like. So this activity is also focusing on labor market information and also on green competencies. So this is a framework which was developed by the EU, and these competencies are related to sustainability in broader fields, so not just ecological, but also social sustainability. And the last element of the activity, we call it Green Utopia, and it's about thinking what kind of world do we would like to live in, and how can we contribute to creating this world that would be more fair and more green. Okay, next slide, Tomáš. So in the first step, we do introduce, and it depends how you do it. You can have it as a debate, or you can have a presentation on several major global trends that are impacting the world of work, which is the climate crisis, which is the digital transformation, and the massive growth of the AI, which will probably make lots of us redundant in couple of years. It's also the demographic change and the aging population, yeah, where maybe even half of the population will be over 60 or even more. So you will need certain kind of infrastructure and services which we don't have yet, etc. And it's the growth of the population of the cities. So the massive urbanization is also a big trend. And the changing nature of work and education. So it's got to do with, it was influenced also by COVID, with the growth of AI, but even at schools, you can see that the students are, I don't know, watching videos or are playing something online or using the AI, and it's got great impact on the way we learn and also the way we work. And also the growing global instability. So these are the big trends. And then the next step is that we divide the participants into the group, and then we encourage them to think of the city of the future they would love to live, which is influenced by those big trends. Yeah, we have mentioned in the previous slide. So what kind of city should it be? What kind of buildings should there be? What kind of services should they be providing? What the infrastructure should look like? Are there any public spaces? How do you sort out the waste and the public transport and the education and the healthcare, etc., etc. So it's this is actually a really nice activity because people are being very positive and they're supported to think about some bright, nice future. Okay, next slide. Then if you have this city and different facilities and services, then you certainly need some jobs that should take care of those, let's say, needs or services. So in the next step, people start to generate ideas. What kind of professions could exist in this new city of the future? And it's, again, a very playful activity because some of those professions don't exist yet. So we very much encourage them to open their minds, think about the needs, and come with jobs which would focus on those future needs. Yeah, next slide. And then the next step, because this is all a group activity, and then they do work individually, and they think of, okay, so I have these lots of new jobs emerging there. So what kind of professions are there that are interesting for me? What is the job I would like to do in the future? Is there something I really like? And if I choose my future job, then I start to think, okay, so what is the job profile of this profession and what kind of competencies I will need to perform this job? So do I have all of them, or is there something I'm lacking, and what can I do to obtain those new competencies that will be needed in the future? Okay, next one. And this is more, let's say, like an activist activity, because I can also think with this new profession or this new job, how can I contribute to sustainable development? What can I do so that the other people have a nice and let's say just life, and how can I what can I do in order to protect the planet? Okay, next slide. Okay, so I think there's something missing.
Hopefully not. But there is no more slides.
Okay, so can I share my screen then? Because I have 3 more slides.
Okay, yes, of course.
Tomasz, I think you skipped one.
Yes, but these are not Eva's presentation.
Yeah, these are not mine. Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Ah, there was second page. Sorry. Okay. Do you want me to show it, or you have it on slides? Hopla.
Yeah, this one. Okay. Yeah. So these are just, can you enlarge it a bit? Yeah. So I just want to show you what is this activity based on. So this is a model of sustainable development, which this is really crucial when we work with clients and you want to introduce them those ideas and open the debate about sustainable jobs. These are the let's say the ideological background they were grounded in. So let's say sustainable, if I want to support my clients so they can get a sustainable job, what I need to focus is that they have to no, I think it's a different picture. Sorry. Okay. It's a world which is fair, which means that it's a job where I will earn decent money. Yeah? So I'm not supporting people to become activists and do a volunteer work. So if it's a good work, which is also not damaging the environment, it should be also paid well. So this is one, let's say, pillar of this. Then it should be a work that will contribute to social progress and social cohesion. Yeah. So the world we want to live is a just world as well. So I can earn enough money, but then I don't exploit the others. So the fairness and let's say earning enough money is the second pillar, and the third one is a world which we can really live in, where we can breathe the clean air and drink clean water. So it should be also, let's say, viable world and livable world. So these three pillars are really important, and we cannot forget that people really need to earn also decent wage or salary. Yeah. So this is one, let's say, important background for us. The other one goes around the EU Sustainable Development Goals. And in the handbook we're currently developing, there are lots of activities which are linked to the EU Sustainable, or SDGs as they are called. And you can see that they're also not all of them are linked to the environment, but it's also about the fair world and social justice. Yeah, so it's this sustainability has got broader dimension than only environmental, and very often we call it green guidance. People only think about protecting the nature, but it's really broader than this. Last page, Thomas, please. And then we really love this diagram, which is called the Ikigai model, and we use it a lot in our activities. And if we're trying to support our clients to find a sustainable job, what we talk about is about the problems in the world. So what the world needs, yeah. So in this activity I introduced to you, we're talking about our needs in the future, to have a city where we have lots of public space, where we have, let's say, accessible healthcare, drinkable water, we can manage the waste, we have access to quality education. So these are the needs of the world. Then we talked about things or jobs I can be paid for. So do I find a link between the need of, is there any job that treats the needs, but also earns me enough money? Yeah, so is there any job which will meet the needs of the world, but also will be something that I will be paid for? Then I look on the things, on my skills, what I'm good at. And the last thing is things I'm passionate about, what I want to do, what are my aims, what are my mission, what are my values. And these four things need to interlink. And what you find in the middle is the ideal job that is based upon my skills, upon my persuasion or things I love. It is something that I can be paid for, and it is something that contributes to the well-being of the world and well-being of the planet. Yeah. So this is the idea behind this activity, or the ideas that we're developing in this toolbox, which is probably very idealistic, but I think that It also supports the creativity, that people think about the problems they see around themselves, see around them, and thinking about activities that they can do to solve the problems, and think what kind of gainful employment could be developed that will solve the problems and help the planet to survive.
Thank you very much, Eva. And this is perfect timing because it's 6 o'clock. But maybe before leaving, well, I'm sharing some ideas about how it is possible to green your guidance practice that you, of course, will receive in slides. And maybe we can take 2 minutes for questions before we close this webinar, if there are any. Tibor, yes.
Yeah, Eva, thanks a lot for this very interesting presentation. Just what stick to my mind immediately, that what you are actually doing is a cultural transfer. So do you have any experience how the Japanese ikigai fits to the Central Eastern European context?
Well, we will just find out, because we're in the testing phase in the 5 partner countries of the Green Guidance Project. And we want to, we created the group of green ambassadors. We will give them the tools and they will test them with their target groups, and we'll collect the feedback. So we'll find out soon. Yeah. But when we tested these activities, people were really excited about it. But they were the care practitioners and people who are really excited about the idea of green guidance. So I don't think they're the normal part of the population. But we think that it's not enough to just collect waste and you know, say sorry, I'm a bit that it's not only personal responsibility. There should be a change of paradigm, the change, so how we see the work. If we want to achieve any major changes, it just doesn't go without this. Otherwise, you will just make small steps and move to nowhere. But it's a revolutionary idea, yeah. And we need a revolution.
With these final words, thank you very much for your attention, and then an invitation for all the participants, whether you are a practitioner, stakeholder, or policymaker, think about what could be your small step that you could implement into your practice, into your work, that could contribute to this more sustainable future. Thank you very much, and we look forward to meeting you in our future webinars around green guidance, but also around other topics that concern the Central and Eastern Europe. Have a very nice evening, and of course we will share with you the recordings and all the slides of all the presenters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.